Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Vacheron Constantin Malt Perpetual Calendar Retrograde Date. You can see and you can purchase this red gold perpetual calendar with retrograde date on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this extraordinary automatic dress watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Malt Perpetual Calendar Retrograde Date. Now the Malt collection with its highly stylized lugs debuted in 2000, later dovetailed with and often confused with the Royal Eagle collection. Initially, the Malt collection was not a tonneau collection, and it's the Royal Eagle that really led to that confusion. When this model debuted in 2002, the Malt collection was defined by round cases, highly stylized premium dials, and these florid lugs with beautiful sculpted profiles and sculptural beauty. This is a watch that embodies the best of Vacheron Constantin. Some in-house savoir-faire, super premium dial construction, a movement to match, and lugs that are just drop-dead sexy with a timeless quality and universal appeal. You'll also note that the watch, despite the visual strength of the case and lugs, is a traditional size, 38.5 millimeters across the round of the case, not including the crown. It's an easy watch to wear on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and you can see that those lugs, though burly, only stretch 46.5 millimeters across the wrist. So I believe this is an ideal watch for wrists as small as 13 to 13.5 centimeters in circumference. You can really wear this watch on a petite forearm. Now the slope of the bezel is generous, and though the watch is not particularly thin at 11.4 millimeters, the rounded case flank and the step of the sloped bezel mean it'll easily clear a dress sleeve, not just a suit jacket cuff, but the sleeve beneath. The strap is a simple affair. It is black, large rectangular scale alligator leather. It's a matte finish, bolstered down the center to give it a little bit of body to match the swell of those lugs. Monotone stitch and folded edge, so it comes to a taper on its flank, and on its underside supple calfskin. Touching the wrist, only the softest and finest calfskin, and all of it matched with a Maltese cross polished pin buckle, so the Vacheron Constantin motif and the traditional low profile you expect of a dress watch buckle. The case, again, is the highlight of the watch, co-equally with the watch making. The case is designed to be strong. This proves you don't need an oversized reference to make a statement. Good design also makes a statement. And because the watch isn't so large that the lugs need to be pared down for the sake of human anatomy, you can't have both. You can't have huge expressive lugs and a giant case. Something has to give. And on a lot of watches today, it's the sculptural beauty of the lugs that suffers as you make the case just relentlessly huge. Here, by going with a compact case, or at least a traditionally sized case, Vacheron was able to create enormous and expressive lugs that define the personality of the watch. Polished case flank, polished lug flanks. You can see every angle brings another facet, another step, another curve with this case. It's beautifully executed, and the hinge of the hunter-style caseback is cleverly integrated into the profile of the case flank. You'll note with minimal disruption. All of high polish, that's okay because the watch is compact in size. 42, 43 millimeters high polished red gold would be overwhelming. From Vacheron in this size, it's sublime. Now we can get close because we're done with the wrist shots, and we can really focus in on the dial. The dial is a highlight in its own right. It has a gorgeous, very light, pebbly grain to it. I would say if you're familiar with pointillisme in art, the use of small points to create patterns and shapes, that is operative here, as the etching is not exactly a hobnail, as each individual surface is almost like a needle point, a series of needle points arrayed in perfect grids longitudinally and vertically across the dial. So it's almost like a pebbly texture. And then you have the matte finish of the retrograde date. You have the same finish to the registers for the day and the month. You'll note there's a very discreet leap year cycle indicator just after the tail end of the month. A blackened and skeletonized triangular index traces the month, and then beautiful broadsword hands, as you can see, faceted to provide maximum contrast against the dial base. Small attention to detail really makes this dial. 2 Roman numerals at 12 and at 6, all applied and diamond polished faceted indices. You'll note rose gold chapter rings for the sub-registers, and a small applied and high polished rose gold Vacheron Constantin Maltese cross motif logo at 12, counterbalanced at 6 by a very comprehensive year indicator. You have the year, the decade, the century, and the millennium. That's a whole lot of information, and this dial, impressively, conveys it with balance and without feeling crowded in any sense. Moreover, though a perpetual calendar measuring huge intervals of time, nevertheless, it is easy to read this one at a glance. From head on, there's no doubting the position of the hour or the minute hands. Now, I will see if I can roll this one through at date change so you can see what the watch is all about. There it is. You see all of the registers jump. If you want to back up the video and watch that again, I don't blame you. But this watch gets very dynamic once a month. And don't even get me started on New Year's Eve. There's a lot going on this watch on New Year's Eve. Case back is simple. Aside from my fingerprints, you can see Vacheron Constantin Genève and a gorgeous and beautifully knurled Maltese cross motif crown. Note that the knurling is punctuated by intermediate buff or polished portions. As a result, you can really feel the crown in the hand. It has a very distinctive tactile sensation to it. It winds nicely, but this watch is an automatic, and you can see, as I mentioned earlier, it is a hunter-style caseback. The tolerances are very crisp. Now you have potential for customization inside, as the inside is left mirror polished, and frankly, if you're going to customize, that's where I would do it, so nothing will mar the watch externally. The caliber is what's known as Vacheron 11126R. So this is reference 47031. It debuted in 2002, and it was powered from the beginning by a Jaeger-LeCoultre 889 pusher caliber. So it's operating as the big engine that's turning over Vacheron Constantin's in-house perpetual calendar module. 36 joules. It is adjusted in 5 positions. It features bidirectional winding, a 38-hour power reserve, and though the watch has no seconds hand, it retains the base caliber's hacking seconds function, so you can actually hack the balance and stop it. It's a very thin and fine movement, perfectly executed within the Vallée du Jeu for the finest of Geneva. Now that's 2 separate parts of Swiss geography, but think of this watch as a tour of Switzerland's finest watchmaking regions. You have Jaeger-LeCoultre and Vacheron Constantin in one package. Now all of the screws are heat blued and oxidized. The Côte de Genève are rich and beautifully arrayed, even across and aligned across bridges. You'll also note there's a perlage pattern on the base plate and a 21 karat winding mass in the skeletonized winding rotor. You can see Vacheron Constantin has customized the rotor as well. It's a thin and fine movement with a single mainspring barrel, and you can see some of what makes for a thin movement. Compact construction, yes, but also refinements like the open barrel that allow it to be just a little bit more compact, all of which allows a modular complication to be fit into a case that's only about 11 millimeters thick. All of that with automatic winding. This watch is a stunner, beautifully executed. I have actually seen the modules on top of the movements, so I've seen the dial side of this movement, and if the base caliber is good, the module is stunning. The module is finished to the standards of Vacheron, even if the movement itself, the base caliber, is finished to JLC's highest standard. Nevertheless, there's a potent amount of Vacheron Constantin manufacture, movement, engineering, and finish locked inside this watch. It's a beautiful watch from any angle, inside or out, from any aspect, an expressive, powerful, and elegant statement of what Vacheron does best. This is a watch that will look just as good 50 years hence. See it and purchase it on our website.